I'm Leah.
Sam,
I'm Cody.
come on, can you stop laughing, bro?
Our
This
habit
is
of mind was
serious.
responsibility, which according to the frameworks document means that you include documentation and citations in your work, ask for help when needed, and turn your assignments in on time. The audience of the frameworks document is the English 1100 students in particular. The instructors.
Keep talking.
What we think responsibility means is
Well, I think responsibility means, when writing, it means, you know, just asking for help when you need help, talking to your peers and your instructors, parents, people, basically just people around you that you can seek help from, that you know they can help you. And just being able to cite your work, whatever documents you use in your work, just cite it, giving the author credit of their work, and just doing your work, making time to maybe write a rough draft before you start doing your work, so it like give you an idea of what you want to do. And well, after doing a rough draft, then I just say think about the writing, then you can do your final draft. What's after that? What was the purpose?
Okay, so another thing a responsible writer could do would to be make sure you get your work peer reviewed and take the peer review seriously and like read through what they had to say about your work. And I think that'll help you become a really good writer if you notice the changes that you need to make in your writing and you adapt your writing styles to, I guess, like fit what they think you should be doing. So,
And the audience for this for responsibility would be English 1100 students mostly, but it goes past that. Whatever you learn from this, you could use outside. We could use outside of English 1100. It could be applied in other higher level college classes. You could also use it in real life. Applying for jobs and whatnot. It comes in then. And well, our arrangements. You gotta pull it up. Can you pause it?
no, we'll just
All right, so we're just gonna talk about one or more habit of mine we practice during the writing process. Well, personally, I think I practice more of openness because we have to work in groups, and that's kind of difficult to do. There's like different ideas coming from like different people, and you have to incorporate it to one. And I definitely think I was open because I was willing to listen to what they had to say, and then we got to like make an agreement what goes in the document and what doesn't. And I was also open to the to what people had to say during the peer review. We basically we took the advice from people, and we went back to revise what they had to work on what they had to say about our writing. We wouldn't like just take their comments for granted. We were open enough to, you know, think of it as important and just go back, use their advice, and incorporate it back to what we had to write.
one of the other habits of mine I think I practiced during this assignment was engagement because not only was I working in a
Keep talking.
is not only having to work with two other people in the class, but also along with the whole class and having them peer review our work. Is not only having to work with two other students in the class, but the whole class altogether because using Google Docs, Yammer, and whatever else we've been using.
Really?
We've had to receive peer review from other students, and that's how I see engagement, using different mediums.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about flexibility. I believe I showed flexibility in my writing this semester so far about, I guess, making sure my assignments were done on time. That way, I mean, I didn't want my group to get behind, and I didn't want to get behind myself. So, I think not waiting till the last minute to do your work is a big part of being flexible, and got to be flexible working with others. So doing your work before the deadline, it'll give you plenty of time to look over your work before you have to submit it, and that way you're not rushing to just cram stuff in the last minute, which your work would probably be not very good if you did that. So allowing yourself extra time to revise your work after you've already finished is being flexible.
One thing I think we could have done a better job of during the presentation was explaining to other students what exactly they had to do in order to receive the responsibility out of the Mind Badge. We weren't really sure what we were supposed to create for them as an assignment at first, but then doing the lightning talks actually helped us figure out what we needed to assign other students to do.
Well, from the presentation, I think we did a good job explaining what our habit of mind was, and I also think we did a good job trying to convince the audience to incorporate responsibility in their writing, because I mean that's really important. And from our presentation, we try to tell them how significant it is when you write. And I also think our rhetorical question, I thought it was a great way to get the audience engaged to start thinking about how much different or the effect of responsibility in their writing. And we got a few actually a lot of feedbacks back from the peer reviews in class, and we utilized the comment we got from our peers in class. And an example would be one of the students on here. It was Abigail. She said, hold on, just give me a second. She said the topic sentence is there, but it was vague in her opinion. And I tried to change a little bit of it. I changed a few words and basically try to phrase the sentence in a different way, and I thought it sounded better. I guess it made more sense to the audience. And there were also other comments on here include your citations, which we forgot apparently for our interview. And all we had to do was include the what is it?
In text.
We have to include the name of the the person we interviewed. There was also a few more ones we disagreed with, I'm trying to find it. 1 second. And there was another comment about citation. It was basically saying we had to add our in-text citation for the article or the guide, I guess we'd call it. And we already had the name of the author as part of the sentences or summary. So I disagree with her comment because the professor instructor said we didn't have to cite the we didn't have to cite it a second time if it already had the author's name on it, or if the author's name is part of the quotation, then you didn't have to cite it a second time. And basically all we had to do on there was add the page number from like where we got the quotation from in parentheses. And that was pretty much the ones I thought was significant comments on here.